Hi guys. We've had an unseasonably hot both September and it seems to be turning out October as well in London and just generally in the UK. I'm pretty sure they said that this is like the hottest October on record so far. So yeah, it's been really unseasonable. It's not at all autumnal in terms of like heat. I actually wondered for a moment whether I was having a hot flash just before I made this, and then I figured, oh, maybe not, because it's like 23, 24 degrees outside today, which honestly, in the UK, this is like really weird to have weather like this in October. Um, so again, I haven't really worn anything out of the ordinary. Like I haven't really worn anything too heavy. I've tested one thing out that I would describe as like really autumn winter. Um, but apart from that, it's been pretty low key, relatively light stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video that I did with my husband. I've worn quite a lot of the perfumes that we did in that video. Okay, so I wore Keep It Fluffy by Lush because I love this perfume. I consider it to be a tangy floral. It's a very kind of slightly lurid yellowy colour. It's not the most attractive of colours, but a lot of perfumes, especially old school or natural ones, tend to have this kind of pea yellow colour. But Keep It Fluffy, super tangy floral. There's quite a lot of ylang ylang in this. There's a lot of rose. There's they don't list on Fragrantica any citruses in here, but there's literally no way that that's the case. Let me just have a quick look. Rose Absolute, sugary floral. They call it a sugary floral. It is a bit sugary. Is this the one that's got lemongrass? Yes, I thought so. Lemongrass and citral. So there are citrus notes. There's lemongrass, and the lemongrass is a slightly unusual scent in this. But I just love this. This is like a really naturalistic and like sugary but also tangy version of slightly more classic perfumes like Poem and I mean, even like the one that I smelled, like Sultan Or and Jean Paul Gaultier Classique, and all those kind of perfumes. It's got like a slightly classic-y, perfumey vibe, but at the same time, it's quite an unusual smell. So what they say on Fragrantica is ylang ylang, musk, rose, vanilla, jasmine and orris root. So there's, I mean, I don't think it goes particularly powdery. I really do think that a really lovely ylang is the top note in this, followed by the rose, and it's a classic kind of slightly rose jammy rose from Lush, which is also, I always find their rose to be quite tangy too. I just love this. It's so fun to wear. I really love this perfume. And then I wore this the other day, which is just absolutely delicious. So this is Donna Aqua, really reflecting that light. Let me just put it at a little angle. Gorgeous bottle, gorgeous colour, just such a beautiful smell. I loved every moment of wearing this. It is a real shame. Honestly, I don't understand why this one was discontinued, and from all the people who love it, I think it's weird. But I guess the problem is watching stuff on YouTube is that you'll suddenly see people talking about something, but probably people didn't know about it because before I'd seen these bottles, but not these specific taller ones. I'd seen the Donna and the Born in Roma, and there's loads of fuss. I'd seen loads of stuff about the Born in Roma range, but I didn't know this existed before I saw people on YouTube talking about it. And that's the sad thing, really, is that like sometimes it starts getting hyped up kind of too late. So I love this, like actually love it. And I didn't know that I would, because on Fragrantica the notes are written down as top notes of almond, pear, middle notes frangipani and jasmine, base notes sandalwood and hawthorn. But on the little Donna Aqua carded sample that I got, they said on it green almond, frosted pear, frangipani rose accord and roasted tonka bean. And I feel like that's much more of the kind of vibe that I get from it. I get this delicious almondy sweetness, but there's a lot of very sugary pear, and then I definitely get a lot of frangipani. So I I'm sure that there is a bit of sandalwood. I'm sure that there's like jasmine and hawthorn. I'm sure that those are correct, but they're like way low down in the mix compared to, and I feel like maybe I can sense a bit of rose in this, and that's one of the magical things about it. I haven't found anything that smells like this. I have been trying to have a look. There's one place that does, and I know, I think Jess in my comments said that she's got it. I think it's called Genre. Is it Genre perfumes or generic perfumes or something? If you search for Donna Aqua dupe, then they have it. But the problem for me is that's because I was thinking I'm just going to get like either the oil or the spray, like a little tester one just to smell, because I want to compare it. And if I love it, I will actually buy a bottle, because I think I could happily get through this very quickly, because as much as I love it, it doesn't last. It really doesn't last very well. It's gorgeous, but it needs to be reapplied quite a lot. And I wore this one to work. I took my little mini that I've got from eBay. And that's the one I reapplied from, and I had to reapply this. I definitely reapplied it at lunch, and then before I left work, and then later on in the evening as well when I was hanging out with my husband, because it just doesn't last. It really doesn't. But the problem is the shipping to get it from the Middle East to the UK is more expensive than the actual perfumes. So yeah, I don't quite know. I haven't worked out what I'm going to do about that, because I figured, I'll spend the $29.99 or whatever it is to get 6 different samples, because a few other things that have been discontinued, or things that I just want to smell but I don't want to spend the money on the actual, like really niche perfume or whatever. And some stuff I just want to compare to stuff that I have. But it was literally, I think it was like £27 to get it shipped. And there's no guarantee that you don't have to pay customs on top of that. So I was like, I'm not spending £30, almost £30 plus possible customs in order to get like 5 or 6 samples of 2 mils of things. It's not, you know what I mean? So if I can find out a way to get a sample of the dupe of this at a decent cost, then I will definitely do a proper comparison. But otherwise, I would say you can still get the samples on eBay. You can get the little miniatures still. And, I would actually say if you like pear and almond, and you like frangipani, and you like very pretty, gentle, light, sweet perfumes, it's probably worth getting the dupe. It's probably just worth buying it if you can't get hold of any of this, because if it does, as people say it does, smell exactly like this, then worth it at that point. But while I've still got this, it's just not financially sensible for me to do that. But I love it. I feel like this is actually magic, this perfume, and it's the nicest Valentino I've smelt, and I've smelt most of them now, and I've tested quite a few of them on my skin, and this is like the only one I actually like. So beautiful, stunning, gorgeous, lovely bottle as well. So what are we going to jump onto here then? Let's have a little look. Oh, well, I did say I was going to wear this again on Sunday, and it's beautiful, and I'm battering through it. This is Falling in Love by Philosophy. This is, I have made a proper dent in this from wearing it for like one whole day and one evening, and actually probably another evening, because it's not very strong. It's definitely a skin scent. This is 120 mils, this bottle. So I reckon I've already got 10 mil gone from this, just from wearing it a few times. But it's really addictive. It's gorgeous. And Falling in Love by Philosophy, the interesting thing about this is that although I can't smell it on my skin very strongly, I'm not entirely sure if that's because it's actually quite light and weak. I mean, it is light, but I don't know whether I maybe just go anosmic to it, because if I go out of my room after I've sprayed it, and then I'm out of my room for a bit, when I come back in, this is what I can smell. And this lasts on my clothes for like days and days and days on end. Like my robe from when I had this on in the evening, I can still smell this on it now. And that was like 3 days ago. So I think the answer to this one is to put it on clothes. Falling in Love, this is the one that if there's any left and you're in the UK, Simply Be have 2 literally 2 120ml bottles, so that's 240 mils for 28 quid at the moment. And I mean, that's just exceptionally good value for this deliciousness. This is a blackberry musk, I'd say. There's definitely something in it that smells quite citrusy as well. Let me just have a look. They don't list any citrus, but I'm not really sure with Philosophy if they particularly tell you what's in this. They just say things like, you must love yourself before you can learn to love another. Yeah, fine. I mean, I do actually agree with that. However, it's a bit cheesy on a perfume, isn't it? Perfume can change your mood, but I'm not sure it can change your life. So this just says blackberry, vanilla, musk, jasmine, and lily of the valley. But it definitely smells like blackberry. Noticeably is blackberry. It's delicious, natural, gorgeous freshness, lushness. But there is something, I'd almost say it was blackberry and lemon. Not because it's sharp, but it definitely has that kind of sweetened lemon juice vibe. You know, like if you make a fruit salad and you don't want it to go all brown, you'll just put a bit of lemon juice on it, you know, but maybe you have to balance it out with just a sprinkle of sugar. It's that kind of vibe. Absolutely lush. I mean, I love it. Absolutely delicious. Wearing it all the time. Smells delicious on bed sheets as well. Like when I was wearing it, I also sprayed it a little bit on my bed. It was on my robes. I'm happy for everything to smell like this. I think it's lush. So then this other one turned up. This is what I bought this on eBay. Unconditional Love, because this is compared to this one, but this one's raspberry. So I thought, oh, well, someone's selling this on eBay. I don't know that they make this anymore. I'm not sure. But this is an Eau de Toilette as well. And I was just like, I'm just going to take the chance because I think I made an offer and it was accepted. And I thought, well, that's fine. That's not expensive. So let me just... Oh, I can still smell that sensational raspberry. So this one made me quite happy because Unconditional Love, it does indeed smell very, very close to this. However, it's not quite as sweet. I'm not entirely sure. There is vanilla, but I don't think there's as much. But it pretty much has the exact natural smelling sherbety, so like very tart but also sugary natural smelling raspberry note that I get in La Belle Cerise Liberty Fizz, which used to be my very, very long term, like 16 years signature scent. So I was overjoyed when I smelt this because at first I was like, oh yeah, it really does smell like this. I probably don't need it. And then it just developed a bit and I was like, oh no, this is noticeably blackberry. Like I said, maybe with just a hint of lemon and a nice kind of musky, sweet dry down. This is a raspberry bomb. It's like, it's like mouth-watering raspberry. That's how I'd describe it. And I find it really difficult to find good raspberry perfumes nowadays because there's nearly always something else in there that totally ruins them. Whether it be florals or... I've got Jeanne from Lanvin, but that's got like that classic Lanvin like bar soapy musk in it, so it's a different vibe. It doesn't smell gourmand, you know, it's just a beautiful... That's actually raspberry and blackberry. It's kind of like these two, plus it's kind of sweeter and it's more sort of soapy, you know. These both are way more gourmand to me. They're like, this is like mouth-watering blackberry yumminess. This is like literally kind of tingling explosion of raspberry with just a hint of vanilla. This only notes raspberry in the top, white lily in the mid notes, and then vanilla and cashmerian in the base. But I mean, to me it's basically raspberry, and it's got a slightly musky dry down, and again that's a little bit like... It really reminded me of wearing labels. It doesn't have the tomato leaf, it doesn't have the freesia, but there's just something about it that really gave me the feels. So I'm very, very happy to have that. Any other normal human being possibly doesn't need both of those perfumes because they definitely have similarities, but I think they're both really nice and I am definitely keeping both of them. Let's have a look. What else have we got? So I wore this one because I went and tested. So this is Jovan Musk. Now, if you can see, I'm just going to bring this in and try and get it to focus. If you can see, this says Musk Oil. You see? Musk Oil. It's a spray, it's not an oil, but it says Jovan Musk Oil, and this is the Eau de Toilette spray. Now, you can also, as it turns out, get an eau de parfum of this musk oil spray, which I hadn't actually realised was a thing. I saw it on Parfum Dreams, I think it was. So I don't know if at some point I might get it. I probably don't need it, but just out of interest, because it's not expensive. So I went to test out Chanel No. 5 Le Eau on my skin. And when I got home, I was like, all right, I'm going to test out some other things that I think people might like if they like Chanel No. 5 Le Eau. Because, so let me just talk about Chanel No. 5 Le Eau first, because I think it's absolutely stunning. Like, honestly, I think it's gorgeous. The notes in that one are top notes of aldehydes, lemon, neroli, mandarin orange, bergamot, orange and lime. Middle notes are ylang ylang, jasmine, may rose. Base notes are white musk, orris root, cedar and vanilla. Now, the genius of Chanel No. 5 Le Eau, to me, is that it keeps the floral aldehydic scent from Chanel No. 5 and from those absolute classic kind of old school, like groundbreakingly important perfumes. But it gets rid of the chypre element, you know? So there's no oak moss, there's no vetiver, there's nothing civety, there's nothing that's kind of pushing it towards that classic chypre. And I think chypres can be quite hard to wear, like in modern day life. I do still quite enjoy them. I quite like No. 5. I don't know really when I'd have the occasion to wear that kind of thing, so it's not something I long to own, but I really appreciate it. I certainly appreciate it on other people. I love the aldehydic part of those old school perfumes. So, I mean, I will actually make a little video about some of my favourite kind of aldehydic musky perfumes that might be a good alternative, like a much more affordable alternative to something like Chanel No. 5 Le Eau. But, I mean, my general feeling is that I would absolutely love, if I ever see one for cheap, a little bottle of Chanel No. 5 Le Eau, but I would never pay £70 for the 35ml bottle, which is, I think it's like £71, a recommended retail price. Not because I don't think it's like worth that in terms of the smell. It also has a gorgeous bottle. I love the classic Chanel bottles. They're really, really chic and smart and nice and simple and very elegant. The smell is very elegant, but it doesn't really last particularly long. So I think in terms of like spending £71, I'd want it to last a fair bit of time. But when you first spray it on, you definitely get the classic aldehydic, old-fashioned, and I'm just going to say it because it's true, slightly pissy smell that you get with those old school perfumes. And it definitely is leaning to a little bit more of a chypre style scent when you first spray it. But it's more citrusy and it's much softer, it's much smoother. It doesn't have the same kind of like woody dryness, you know. It's a bit kind of fresher, easier, but it's absolutely soapy clean, gorgeous. And then it dries down and it's just basically the nicest smelling skin, like freshly washed, very like you've washed with a really classic but slightly citrusy soap. Really, really beautiful. And then in the very, very, very deep dry down before it disappears, you really start getting the vanilla coming through. I think it's glorious. It's so beautiful. I totally understand. I think it's the scented who really likes Chanel No. 5 Le Eau. I think it's one of her like for life perfumes, and I absolutely understand why now that I've actually tried it on my skin. It made me feel very elegant, very clean, very ladylike. I think it's really beautiful. So anyway, that's that bit. I tried that and I think it's great. So then when I came home, I also tried out a load of things that I have that give me that sort of similar feeling, if you see what I mean. So Jovan Musk Oil, I put it on and I was thinking to myself, this definitely has a slightly different vibe. So this is, if you've ever smelled Chanel number 5, there is an element of it that smells just like Jovan Musk, and it is the kind of classic golden musk and the classic kind of spice and sandalwood and the classic jasmine and all, bergamot. So it has some of those same really classic elements that you get in a Chypre, but it's like l'Eau. It doesn't have the oak moss. So it's like a very, I would say, like it. I always think that Jovan Musk is like a very, very stripped back kind of beautiful soapy musky element that you get in Chanel number 5. Now, musk oil I find to be more kind of orangey, and I was thinking to myself, it definitely to me smells different. So the gold caps smell different to me, and I have a whole video about how I prefer these to the other, but my nose really has developed since I was making those old videos, and there is something in this that when it dries down, because you get exactly the same thing, a slightly pissy, aldehydic, very intensely soapy, old-fashioned smelling perfume when you first spray this. And then the dry down is gloriously soft and slightly sweet, and it's just beautiful, soapy, clean skin. That's what it smells like. But this oil version, to me, smells like a kind of sweetened, watery Jaffa orange. Like, it smells like, like literally the little pods inside the segments of orange. Nothing like actual orange juice, which I find quite acrid most of the time. Like it would have to be freshly squeezed, no pith. It's got that kind of smell. So I went and did some digging and I found a different set of notes. So Fragrantica only have one listing. They don't have the different one for the musk oil and the Jovan Musk. So they have one that's got, I think it's got a picture of the gold cap, but I think it's the notes or the partial notes from the orange cap version. So the orange cap, the notes that I've found when I've been investigating this online are top notes of musk, jasmine, neroli and bergamot, heart notes of spice and lavender, base notes of sandalwood and tonka beans. Now, I really love the original Jovan Musk. I think it's delicious. Like that, I think it's really, really nice, that orange cap one. However, I find this one softer, smoother, a bit kind of prettier and slightly easier to wear, even though they smell incredibly similar. To me, they don't smell identical. So the notes that I found for the gold capped one have top notes of aniseed, bergamot and peach, heart notes of cocoa butter, lavender and ylang ylang, base notes of musk, patchouli, vetiver and vanilla. So the patchouli and vetiver, I'm like, okay, I don't really get a vibe for that, to be honest. But I definitely get a ylang ylang vibe from this, more so than jasmine, and more so than neroli. I definitely get a kind of warm spice in it, but also I think it's the peach. I think the bergamot mixing with the peach for some reason is coming across to me as this gorgeous orangey smell. And when I had that on one arm and I had l'Eau, Chanel number 5 l'Eau on the other arm, I could really get a sense for the more kind of orangey to me, although it seems peachy, fruity smell that I was getting with this compared to the very citrusy sort of more lemony bergamot kind of vibe that I was getting from l'Eau. So yeah, I mean, it was just really interesting. I thought it was fascinating, to be honest. Yeah, because there's lime and mandarin orange and lemon. There's so much stuff in Chanel number 5 l'Eau. It's they're all gorgeous. Anyway, I've been talking about it for ages, so I shall move on. Now, the rest of the week, these are things that I got my husband to smell. So I wore So Pretty. This is Hugo Woman by Hugo Boss. This is Hugo Woman Extreme, actually, to be specific. And it is very pretty. They don't give you many notes for this, to be honest. On Fragrantica, they just say top notes bosenberry and grass, middle notes of black tea and jasmine, base notes of osmanthus. But in the original Hugo Woman, and this smells very like Hugo Woman, but not quite as sweet and definitely way more bosenberry. In the original Hugo Woman, there's listed sandalwood and vanilla, and I definitely think there is still that kind of base in here. I think it's got a very gentle sandalwood. It's definitely got a hint of sweetness that I think is coming from vanilla, but it's definitely not as vanilla-y as the original Woman. I love this perfume. It's really easy to wear. It's really pretty. If you know what Touch of Pink smells like from Lacoste, it's a little bit like that, but I'd say more grown up. And there's definitely a bit more jasmine going on here, which normally would upset me. But for some reason in this mix, I just think it's beautiful. And I think it's because there's tea in this. So I think the jasmine with the tea, again, it's just giving me that slight jasmine tea vibe rather than just perfumey jasmine. So I just love that one. That's the one I think my husband said it was sexy when he smelled it. And he thought it smelled expensive. But, you know, it's always interesting, all the things that people think about perfumes, because I'm not sure people really agree. People don't seem to like that one very much on the old Fragrantica, but I love it. Oh my goodness, I just obsessed and I love it. This is Lanvin Modern Princess, and I just had to wear it because it's just so delicious. I really like wearing this in autumn because it's an apple perfume. It's a red apple perfume. And I do think that although it's very light, it actually is quite noticeable for quite a long time. It's another one, if you get it on your clothes, you'll smell it all day. But it's a very intimate scent bubble, you know. It's a very kind of light, slightly ethereal scent. But it's very noticeably a delicious red apple. And I think of this one as my red apple musk, in the same way I think of Jeanne as my raspberry musk, you know. Although this one's now raspberry musk. There's definitely lots of freesia in this as well, though. So this has top notes of red apple and red currant, middle notes of freesia and jasmine, base notes vanilla, orchid, white musk and white woods. It is absolutely scrumptious. I love it. This is one, again, like, I don't think I really changed up in the evening for any of these because I just enjoy them so much. This one I wore in the evening, technically, because it was the day I came home from work and I came via Selfridges and I sprayed myself with Chanel. But absolutely all of these just full dayers because they're so scrumptious. I just really love that one. I don't really need to talk about it much because I've talked about it loads. Same with this one. But I wanted to mention this particularly, and I was thinking I'm going to wear that one because after we made the video, and actually, again, Jess pointed this out to me after the video went out, but I was thinking there's been a couple of revelations after I made the video with my husband where I've realised why he thinks certain things. I wore Mambo. In fact, I'm wearing Mambo today, so I will fill you in on the revelation I had about that one next week. But with Vera Wang Embrace, Marigold and Gardenia, this is one he said he just genuinely does not like this perfume, and I'm not surprised. It's quite an unusual scent. But he said it's not like cucumber. And I was like, it doesn't smell like cucumber. But what I was thinking afterwards is it's melon, right? There's loads of melon in this. I think of it as melon and marigold. And the thing with melon is that melon, to me, I actually said this to him as well. Melon is like the cucumber of the fruit world. Like, it's quite a strange smelling scent. Sometimes it can smell like a bit dirty and garbagey. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever cut up a melon then put it in the fridge. When you take it out, it's this smell that almost smells like a bin, but it's also delicious. It's very strange. And I think that cucumber smells dirty. So, like, if I go somewhere and they've got those cucumber strips in water, you know, that was like really fashionable for a while. I'd be like, it's just dirty water. It just tastes like dirty water. And I think he's getting that. I think that what he's smelling is actually melon mixed with a floral that I don't think he particularly likes, and cardamom, which is a weird smell. And it's making him think of cucumber, whereas I don't think of cucumber with this. I think of like a melon candy, and then I get a little bit of mango. So the notes are actually top notes of melon and mango, middle notes of marigold, gardenia and orange blossom, base notes cardamom, musk, sandalwood and cedar. And I just think this one is beautiful and delicious. Like, it's really, really pretty. But it's definitely it's definitely a weird perfume. It's just one that I really love. I just wore this on a day when he was out in the evening. So I was out at work and then he was out in the evening. So I was like, I'm not going to offend him by wearing this. I'm nearly halfway through that one now. I love it. But yeah, he was not impressed with that one. It's the only one he didn't like. But I love it. Now, I put up a little short to show you guys that I'd got this. So this is French coffee, and this is by, is it Al Rehab? Crown Perfumes. I think that's Al Rehab. I'm sure loads of people bought this when I did after seeing Sarah May's talk about it. I was trying to get a sample of this from a little website in the UK a while back, but they kept selling out because when this perfume first came out, this French coffee, when it first came out, it was quite expensive for an Al Rehab, like unusually expensive, you know. Let me just move this a second because there we go. Slightly less blinding, hopefully. Okay. So this came in a different bottle. It was in a square bottle, a square dark brown bottle. It didn't look like an Al Rehab bottle and it was much more expensive. So even getting a sample was kind of expensive, but I thought it looked kind of interesting. So I just wanted to smell it. And then Sarah was sent it, I think, by one of her friends, and then she reviewed it, and I was like, I mean, now I know that you can get these bottles, these classic Al Rehab bottles, and they're only $12.99 if you get them on eBay in the UK, and free shipping as well. I got with that. I was like, well, I might as well try it now. Like, it's such a bargain. Might as well see what it's like so I can review it. So I'll just get the notes up for this. So they haven't got a top, middle and base listed here. They've just got coffee, vanilla, caramel, milk, sugar, cacao and cinnamon. This is not for me. This is definitely not for me. And it is not because I think it's bad. Because this is the only... No, I have Al Rehab green tea oil. I don't like any other Al Rehab perfumes. There's something in them that I just cannot get along with. It's not that tar-like, no. That's not what it is. And if you stay till the end, I have an update on that. This is too buttery for me. That's what it is. So if you're in the UK, you're going to probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Possibly in Europe as well. I don't know if they have these in the US, but it's like Werther's Originals. Do you know what Werther's Originals are? So they are these things. These ones at the top. They're called butter candies and they're caramel, but they are very, very, very buttery. They're hard candies. They're incredibly sweet and sugary. They're something that granddads of all ages will have. To eat, I like them. I love butter to eat, but I don't like buttery fragrances. They make me extremely uncomfortable. And this smells to me like a Werther's Original with a very sweet cup of bitter black coffee. So I think there's going to be loads of people that absolutely love this. I think it's exceptionally good value if you like very sweet, caramelly, like buttery coffee type scents. If, like me, you don't like buttery scents, I would avoid this. If you don't like very strong and noticeable bitter coffee scents, definitely avoid it. If you don't like extremely strong and very sugary scents, avoid it. If all of those things sound good to you, mwah, absolute bargain. It's quite tenacious. I found it very strong. Again, it's difficult to say because if you don't like something, it smells super strong. But it's not for me. I will be passing this on, but I'm glad that I tested it because I think like in terms of like value for money and like quality for this kind of scent, I think it's quite exceptional. But yeah, it's a personal taste thing that I just do not like buttery scents. So like very, very sweet and very strong scents with that buttery vibe in are just never going to be my thing. You know what I mean? So I was watching a video by Sarah McCartney, who is the perfumer, and I think it's her company actually for, now I hope I'm going to say this correctly because I always read it as 4160 Tuesdays, but I think it's 4160 Tuesdays. I think that's how you're actually supposed to say it. But anyway, if you guys know her, you probably know her. That's her company. I've never really tested her perfumes just because I kind of don't want to fall in love with them because they're niche and they're a little bit more expensive than I normally would spend on perfumes. But I've had the sample set, the Gourmand sample set in my wish list for ages, and I'm always like, well, maybe someone could get me that for Christmas, and somehow no one's ever actually managed to do that yet. But anyway, one day I will definitely get the sample set. But she had a video on YouTube about fixatives, like what makes perfumes last longer. Now, if you watch me all the time, you'll know there is some kind of synthetic note in perfumes, in modern perfumes only, that to me, it just smells like tar. It smells disgusting. It's in all the Zaras, all the Latafas, the Zadig and Voltaire's. I'm pretty sure it's in Montal. It's in most of the Ariana Grandes. It's like a nightmare for me. And so I literally just commented on the video and I said, oh, I wonder if this thing that I think smells like tar is a fixative because it just lasts forever. And Sarah very kindly got back to me, and I told her some perfumes that I could smell it in, and I kind of explained what it smelled like. And then she went away with her friend. She said, because she said that she likes it, but her friend Jacques hates it. So Sarah very kindly messaged me and told me that she said the culprit, because they'd been testing things, is Veramos, which is also known as methyl atrate, I think, or I don't know how you would say that, and Evanol, which I think is all the same thing, but possibly like different companies' branding names for whatever it is. So I'm going to stick with Veramos because that seems like an easier thing to say. And I think that is the answer. That's what it is. That's the disgusting smell that I can always get of this particular weird fake tar smell. So there you go. It's Veramos apparently, which I thought was an exceptionally kind thing to do. I guess I piqued her interest, and her and her friend then had a little sniffing session, which is just incredible. So yeah, so I have a name for it now. I'll see if I can actually remember it, Veramos. But anyway, luckily none of these have that in. I have to say, for even though I don't really like Al Rehab, I've never smelt one that has that smell in it. So at least unlike Latafa, because every Latafa I've ever smelt has that smell in it, whereas Al Rehab seems to not use Veramos. So very happy about that. Anyway, guys, sorry for all the changing lights in here. It really is properly got dark outside. So it is time for me to go. Now, I am not going to do a classic autumnal because I've already done a video where I talked about what I was looking forward to wearing like colder weather. But what I'm going to do instead, because it's more fun for me, is to make... I was tossing up between Halloween and Dark Academia because I've got two different lists. But I think just for my own pleasure, I'm going to make what perfumes I would wear with a Halloween costume. So I'm going to try and film that this weekend, and then I don't think I'll try and get it up on Wednesday. If it's not going up on Wednesday, I'll have something else awesome, don't worry. But just hopefully in time for the Halloween season, because it's always really fun to think about that kind of thing, because it's horror movie time coming up. So yeah, tell me what you've been wearing. Thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I can see from my stats that like tons of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, and it really, really helps me if you subscribe. So if you don't mind listening to me rambling on, then I would be extremely grateful if you could subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. Tell me what you've been wearing. Tell me what you think of any of these. And yeah, I hope everyone has a beautiful and lovely week. Bye, guys.